States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order. I always like to introduce folks. Thanks for everyone here in the audience for coming, and everybody who's attending in on Zoom land and watching us on Crossroads TV. We have our town clerk, Christine Keller, Councillor Stephanie Thibodeau, Vice Chair, Town Manager Michelle Flewelling, Councillor and Secretary Peter Lawrence. In Zoom we have Councillor John Picciotti and Councillor Dwayne Bickford, and myself, Council Chair Matt Townsend. So the first order of business are public announcements. So these details may be found at www.fairfieldme.com. Fairfield, number one, Fairfield is hiring in all departments. Contact the town office. Number two, for the 2021-2022 tax foreclosed property acquired by the town on January 22nd, 2024, 30-day buyback period, all outstanding debts shall be paid by Monday, February 21st, 2024 at 4:30 p.m. Number three, for the March 5th, 2024 presidential primary election, absentee ballots are available February 5th through February 29th. Online applications requests are preferred, capturing efficiencies. Also available in person and via phone. Accessible absentee ballots are available online. Absentee ballots returns via secure Dropbox for USPS plan on 5 business days lead time. Polls are open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on March 5th at the Fairfield Community Center, 61 Water Street. Number 4, Lawrence Public Library for the children. Wednesdays, story time and crafts at 10:30. Fridays, Lego Club drop-in from 1 to 4. Saturdays, Lego Club drop-in from 10 to 1. February vacation, special movie showing on Friday, February 23rd at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. And special events, regular and seasonal programs may be found on the LPL social media page. Number 5, Lawrence Public Library for the adults. Coffee and cribbage drop-in is on Thursday from 1 to 4. Read the Classics, new book club that will meet every other month to discuss a classic. The first will be Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, Saturday, April 6th at 10. And special events, regular and seasonal programs may be found on the LPL social media page. And everybody does a great job, but I just like to point out all the activities that are going on at the Lawrence Public Library. So great job. The second order of business are the public hearings. To hear from the public on proposed amendments to this public safety ordinance, Article 1, Parking, Section 10, Parking.
Manager overview.
So if you are in Zoom land and want to speak on the public hearing, please go to, now it is, I think, under more, and then reactions, and then there's a raise your hand button if you need to speak for that portion, and we'll call on you. But I don't see that you have any comments online.
Any comments in the House? In here?
Public hearing for the public safety ordinance. Anybody wants to speak, come on up, sign in, and print.
Can we do an overview?
Sure, yeah, so Michelle, if we can do that.
Sure. So we received some time ago a request from the owner of Sonny's Pizza about changing a few of the spots in front of Sonny's to be just 30-minute parking. That way it would allow for folks to be able to go in and out of the store for pickup. The spots across the street on the Gerald side of the road are 30-minute. So what this change is doing is taking those 3 spots that are currently 30-minute, putting them back to 2-hour parking, taking 5 spaces from where it ends by the crosswalk in front of Sonny's down towards the streetlight end of town, and making those 5 spaces 30-minute parking in between there.
Chief Gould, you're in the room. Do you mind just speaking to this as our public safety officer?
Sure.
Thank you.
Very much laid it out for you.
Sure.
The easiest way to do it is to have those, to move those 30-minute parking spots across the street. It adds 2 more 30-minute parking spots And the only reason that I thought that that would be appropriate is because the only place to put signage is on 2 poles that are already sitting there. And then putting the longer parking across the street for patrons that want to sit down in the restaurant and eat. That's all I have.
Any questions, council?
No.
Very good. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, you're going to print and sign.
I guess my first question would be is how many parking spots do we have on the sunny side now?
Yes.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It looks like 11.
So 5 would, and now is 5 being deemed 2 sunnies as that 30-minute parcel thing?
So they aren't, so I will speak, I'll be speaking correctly, so correct me if I'm wrong. But they're not sunnies, they're meant for just 30-minute parking spots for that side. Does it happen to be sunnies on that side, which has a lot of that kind of quick business? Sure, but it's also for any along that line. And who
Somebody
knows
else
who
mentioned-
knows what may come.
Yeah, that makes sense. Somebody else mentioned too,
Yeah.
in the interim of somebody else getting in down on Main Street that would require a longer-term parking, would this be able to be changed within back to where it is?
It always seemed like we can change ordinance.
So it wasn't that many years ago that we actually made those 3 parking spots to be 30-minute parking. So it evolves all the time based upon whatever's going on for businesses.
That was pretty
down
much all I had.
Any more comments?
We do the vote afterwards.
Look, seeing none, I guess we'll close the hearing. The third order of business, public comments. Limit of 3 minutes. Members of the public may speak to the council or request opportunities on a specific item that is on the agenda, or may email comments for council to info@fairfieldme.com by 4 p.m. day of meeting. Submitted content may be read aloud at this time. I have Vice Chair Stephanie Thibodeau just to read some recommendations.
Basically, if you would like to speak on other items on the agenda, we ask you to please raise your hand now to be recognized, so that when we come to that place, the chair can call on.
Stand up to the mic and give your name.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, just come
Yeah.
up and give your name if you want to reserve.
Actually, just let Steph.
Do you want them to do that now, Christine?
No, once you get through all that.
But, so that's...
not now.
Not now?
Yep.
Okay.
I just wanted you to know I need them to go to the mic because
Right.
of Zoom land and TV land.
Right,
Thank you.
right. So,
Just, excuse me, is it just basically public comments now that somebody can bring something up?
yes,
Okay.
yes. But there are some people also that would like to speak on other matters on the agenda. If you want to do that, now is the time to raise your hand to be recognized. And then when we come to that item, the chair will recognize you so you can speak.
Just so we have an idea who else wants
Yeah.
to speak on a lot of other items.
So how many of you would like to speak on another matter that's on the agenda at this time, other than
So
Mr. Nichols?
Mr. Paul Nichols has already reserved the right to speak on workshop item number 131 Lawrence Avenue. He did that in writing this afternoon.
Yeah,
So I've already got him on the minutes.
okay. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on another item on the agenda?
And obviously, things may come up, and if you have something to add to the conversation, we're always try to be open, so. We'll see.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
first, so public comments.
Okay. My name is Beverly Burse-Mott. The last 3 days, I have made 3 calls to the police department concerning being stalked on the Green Road and followed by somebody who's trying to engage me in conversation, who I don't know who that person is, and keep asking me personal questions. And I talked to Michelle, and I'm not addressing her personally, so, but I talked to her about this. I also talked to Christine, and I spoke to several police officers on this, and I was told that this person was not breaking the law. Well, If he's following me down the road, trying to engage me in conversation and asking me if my dog is aggressive, then I'm concerned and there's red flags. When I called yesterday, I was told, well, we're short-staffed, this, that, and the other. And I said, well, fair warning, if he gets out of his car and he tries to touch me or hurt me or anything like that, that I guess I will have to take matters into my own hands. Now, I know this is not exactly a council problem. However, since I've spoken to 1, 2, and 3 or 4 different officers, and they're telling me, well, you call this person and talk to them, I've done all of that. So I don't know where that leaves me as far as protection is concerned, except to say that if I have to protect myself, then I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. But I don't think that I should have to worry about walking down my road every day for a mile walking my dog. I just recently had my 5th stroke last week. I'm not that well, and I don't want to be accosted on the road. So probably my 3 minutes is up. But anyways, I want to know what's going to be done about that, and if they're going to beef up a little bit of security on my road so I feel a little bit more safer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak for their 3 minutes? Now's the time.
Yep.
Public's comments, yes.
So, well, as many of you know, we did get the ice rink put together. Thank you to Matt,
Lots of people.
Pete, everybody, Michelle. It went very well, and there was a lot of work. Fire department, Public Works, everybody was there doing it. It wasn't one person, I assure you of that. Matt I was in talks with him every day about some of the strangest stuff, but it got together. There is going to be do you know when that is? Is it Saturday at 1?
Where's Sarah?
She's home with Dad. So.
Yeah, Saturday, 1 to 3.
It is 1 to, okay, that's weirdly enough, but there's going to be a skating party at 1 to 3, and everyone's going to be bringing food and everything like that. It should be pretty decent. So other than that, that's all I have to say.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. Other comments?
Hello, Ronald McClagan. Just like to bring up a few questions tonight, Matt. Nice to see all the help that we had this weekend,
Thanks.
this past week for the ice rink. Unfortunately, we were back here at the council meeting. Just wanted to bring up a few things and see if we can get them cleared up. Number one, I know you reached out to me and went to spam. I haven't seen nothing back since, but my next question to you, Chairman, is what was your thoughts? You said you was going to give us some thought and think about it, about the fire station out in Fairfield Center.
So I guess I would, questions, if I can answer, I can make quick answers. The first one I think would be we were waiting to see our facilities report. So until then, I guess I don't want to jump ahead of other hard work.
Also, if I can I please approach everybody on the council's chambers area? I have here just a little printout that was sent to me that comes up and is okay. I wanted to hand one of these out to councilman and
Sure.
town manager. It's just a printout. Just want to make sure it's okay if I approach. This was a printout and a copy that I got sent to me.
Thank you.
Okay? And everybody's saying information about that. When you're coming down Norwood Road and you ask for directions, this is getting what popped up on their information on their screens on their vehicles. That there is a fire station at 235 Old Center Road. Okay? If we're not gonna do anything with this, folks, we should just either take it off the website, take it off the Google Maps, do whatever we need to do. I feel that it's a liability, Chairman. I feel it's a liability. That's just one of the other things I wanted to put out there tonight, so maybe you could look into this and follow up with it. Third thing is, I'd like to ask you, Chairman, back on January 30th, I sent Michelle an email, and we emailed back and forth a couple of times about that examination, medical examination. Obviously, I understand that a medical examination is kind of, it's not something that's out for the public. But in my last message to her, and I never got a response since January 30th, I said, Michelle, so what you are telling me is that all the members that you have hired have been given a medical examination by a physician and has passed all examinations to do his or her job description, was my question.
Okay.
I'm looking for a simple
Yep.
this or this. It's 2 words. It's either a yes or a no. That's all I was looking for, Chairman.
Okay.
That was on the 30th of last month, and I have not seen an answer since.
Okay.
So, just putting it out there. So obviously, we've gone over the fire station ordeal. You have my paper that I have. Another thing is there such a thing as a forensic audit?
So yes, there are forensic audits.
There is.
Sure. In this world. Depends all kinds of things.
Can a public resident of the town of Fairfield ask for a forensic audit?
I do not know of that.
You don't know.
So I will, when you have asked a question that I do not know, I can look.
If you would, please, I would like to know if a resident can ask for a forensic audit.
My first suspicion would be that answer would probably be no unless there is a significant suspicion. But I do not know, so I shall not give you a set answer. So I can look.
Okay, thank you. And also, if you could, Chairman, I would like to know whether or not I believe it's called an S-pool. Does the town, are we in an S-pool with the municipality as far as randomly doing drug tests for personnel?
I do not follow that, so that is not my purview.
Okay. So if you could, there's a few
Yep.
things for
So-
you.
And how
just
would you
to-
like those questions answered?
Oh, anybody's, I mean, you've got my
So, yes, so
email.
you want those directly?
Yes, directly,
Okay.
please, just email them to me, the answers, and I would appreciate
What
it.
we can.
Yep. And if I could get the yes or no or whatever, I mean,
If it's available, yes.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more?
And is there anybody else that would like to speak on another matter on the agenda besides Mr. Nichols? Okay, thank
Very
you.
good. Awesome. Thank you very much. The fourth order of business, reports from staff and committees. Town manager report.
Okay, so January 27th, the town council did hold their 24-25 budget meeting. On February 6th, the Economic Community Development Committee met and the PFAS Committee met. February 10th, the Budget Committee met and put forth their recommendations for the 24-25 operating budget. The plan is to have all of that packaged up and on your next agenda at the end of the month for council's final approval. Also updates, the synthetic ice rink memorandum of agreement was signed on February 6th. Public Works moved it here from Waterville on February 7th. Thank you to everyone who has helped in setting this up for the community. SAPI has requested that their $5,000 donation for the purchase of the rink be returned to them. They do not have a surplus of funds, and since we are not using it for the manner in which they gave it, they did ask that that be returned. The VFW has stated that we can deposit their $1,500 that they donated, but if we don't purchase the rink, they do want that back. And then Hudamaki has allowed us to keep their $5,000 that they did have transmitted to us. I do not know if there's any strings attached to that. I'll have to follow up on that piece.
And you think the SAPI would actually support us if we go to purchase?
We could certainly ask. There's nothing saying that we couldn't. So last week, several departments did experience issues with internet and phones. New equipment was installed by Spectrum, and that seems to have fixed the issue. I believe there was a problem with their modem on their end. So what would happen is the internet would work for about 10 minutes, and then it'd be out for 10 minutes. Calls were getting dropped like crazy. It was very frustrating, but that seems to be fixed. The fire chief and I have received the draft copy of the department audit. We have finished our review and are working on putting together a meeting with Municipal Resources Resources, Inc. to discuss that before it is completely finalized. Once that is complete, copies will go to the council and the Town of Benton Selectmen, and we will work on a joint meeting for the two entities to get together with Municipal Resources, Inc. They will come here, meet with you, discuss that report, go over everything that's in it. And then also, the draft building assessment report was sent out just this afternoon to the committee. So pending any major rewrites or anything like that, that hopefully will be coming to you at your next meeting as well. And that's it for me.
Nice. Any questions for Michelle? So I have just one, and that is, with this manager's report, when does this get uploaded? Because there's great information in here.
So the monthly manager's report, I believe, has already been uploaded.
Okay, yep.
Usually, once it gets submitted, it goes to our website.
Excellent.
Those are there. And then my additions, of course, just get added into the minutes for the hotspot stuff.
Because there's actually there's a lot in here, and
Yes.
it's
Yeah. And the
very
history is
informative.
there, too. The archive is there.
Right. Just thank you for where that can be found. Committee reports. So, Michelle, Economic Development.
You mean Stephanie?
Sorry, Stephanie, thank you. As I had it still on
No
my
problem.
head.
So the Economic Committee met on February 6th. It was basically our business meeting. I was nominated as and elected as chair. Peter is the vice chair. And we did discuss the time and day for the meeting of the Economic Committee. And it was through consensus that we should maintain the first Tuesday of the month at 3:30 here in council chambers. We went over the strategies and goals that we have as a committee. You can find them in the comprehensive plan. There are 4 goals. We did a SCOT analysis, which is talking about strengths, challenges, opportunities, and threats. And we incorporated what we had done in 2023 and talked about concerns that we had as we went through each of the goals. So we're letting all this percolate, and so the majority of our meeting in March is going to be to establish our objectives for the year 2024. It was suggested that we work on shorter-term goals and not long-term goals. We're still going to have the Mill Island Development Plan in the works, which is done in phases, and the next phase is basically on the development phase, which will incorporate some mapping of the island and setting up more specific areas that we want to focus on. So, let me see. I've got to check my notes. I left my black book at home. So, on the agenda also for March is going to be discussion of Trails Day, and the high school has received a grant to help with Trails Day, which is the first Saturday in June. And the town manager will be speaking with Public Works, and it's the feeling of the committee that the high school should work with Cattail Trail in fixing up that trail. So more information will be coming on that. So overall, it was a very productive meeting. I'm looking forward to the March meeting to come up with more short-term goals, of which Trails Day could be one of them. And again, we are open to the public, and we encourage participation. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
You're welcome.
Peter, any discussion on the
On the budget
facilities?
committee, the building committee.
Yep.
I'm still waiting for the final documents for the report, which is when we did the assessment, we asked each department to have their own assessment and pictures. Well, pictures came up, that's what we're just waiting on to add it onto that report is that. I know the town manager is working on it as soon as.
It was in my report. I sent it to you today. It's gone out to the committee today.
I don't have town email.
I'll send it to your old one.
Okay. When I get to review the report, then it's going to come to the council for discussion, so.
All set? Very good. Thank you very much.
Is our next meeting date?
No next meeting.
There is no next meeting
I'm gonna look at our,
for them.
I think ours was set up for. So the PFAS committee met, and I have to yield to, I think we looked at February 27th. But anyway, we actually had a really good discussion, kind of wrap up from our meeting with the DEP. And then we discussed kind of our goals of the committee, and most of it was regarding education and being a clearinghouse for information for our for the town, as well as going after certain areas, things like improved testing. What do we do with looking at sustainable methods for the properties and the land that's been affected and the people that have been affected. So there were a lot of discussions. We should have that online as well. But it was actually a fairly, I think it's nice to see that there are a lot of different opinions on the committee. And so it was a spirited conversation. And so I think it's not just a rubber stamp of one issue. So I think there's good movement being made. And then we're looking, the next one is actually looking at the Department of Agriculture coming to speak with us. And we're looking at February 27th. I think we were looking at a date, but that was open at that point. So I think that's everything I have for that committee. But I think it's a nice mix of people that are affected and with different opinions. So it's good. The fifth order of business, the consent agenda. These items are considered routine or standard business and therefore will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests prior to consideration of this portion of the agenda, which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered next on the agenda. Item 2416, order that the Fairfield Town Council hereby waives the reading of and accepts the minutes for meeting number 2024-02 held on January 24th, 2024. And item 24-17, order the Town Council hereby approves the Treasurer's warrant number 99 general fund in the amount of $667,266.65. Not limited to, but including MSAD 49, motor vehicles, Morton Salt, Quirk Ford, and Delta Ambulance.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none.
Okay,
We'll go to roll call.
vote. Townsend?
Aye.
Thibodeau?
Aye.
Lawrence?
Aye.
Bickford?
Aye.
Chaudy?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. The sixth order of business, to take action on the following items of business as read by the council chair. Item 24-18, order the town council hereby adopts amendments to the public safety ordinance, Article 1, parking, Section 10, parking as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion.
I have a question.
Yes.
Was the owner of Sonny's Pizza given the results of this? If he had any opinion?
He put his request in writing. I did let him know that there would be a public hearing, and I will provide the results of the public hearing to him. Does that answer your question?
What was the question? You could.
Go ahead.
So Councilor Bickford asked if the owner of Sonny's Pizza had actually been part of the conversation, and he put a request to the municipality in writing. There has been physical conversation. He will be notified through conversation the results of tonight's termination.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Townsend?
Aye.
Thibodeau?
Aye.
Lawrence?
Aye.
Bickford?
He said aye.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, it's not coming through,
Dwayne
but he did
Bickford,
say
aye,
aye.
okay. And John Pachadi?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Motion
I think there's
carried.
something up with his microphone.
Item 24-19, order the town council hereby authorizes the treasurer to accept $20,000 community benefit flood relief fund from Somerset County to be deposited into the emergency management reserve account. Michelle, can you fill us in on this, please?
So Somerset County, after the December storm, sent out funding to county municipalities. The amount of funding that was received by some of these municipalities was based upon the number of people who were filed claims for individual damage of their homes through the FEMA website. So we received 20,000. I believe Norridgewock received 20,000. Skowhegan received 20,000. I think Anson, somewhere in like 5,000. Like there was more sprinkled out and about. So this is funding that comes from their community benefit fund, which are funds that are derived through taxation. So this would be, there's no current plan for this money, so this going into this emergency management reserve account means that it would go into that account. It would be used specifically for emergency management purposes. It would not expire at the end of the year and just dump into the general fund, right? So it's like the rest of your reserve accounts, it continues to roll. It would be a great piece to offset the cost, or at least be a match with a grant for a generator for this facility here. It would cover about half the cost of a generator for here. So, but at least at this time, until there's a solid plan for it, it would just be deposited in the specific account.
Stephanie?
I was wondering if the town clerk has received any requests for help from people that were affected by the flooding or the wind damage?
Yeah, so welfare and general assistance is overseen by and audited by Maine DHHS and very strictly governed, and of course the town has adopted the state's guidance and ordinances. So that none of it was covered services, and they had advised me directly from the state of Maine DHHS that to go outside,
My apologies.
to go outside of the parameters of the program would be stepping out of my purview and setting a very bad precedent. But we continue to find every resource we could, FEMA and whatnot, working with the fire department and police chief and the county, trying to get every resource manageable to these folks. Anybody that did call me, they did receive direct correspondence or call from me, whether it was email or phone call, to go to the governor's website that had all of the FEMA resources on it. We posted that to Facebook. We made sure that anybody that inquired, if they came in, we printed out the page to provide that information to them and what the recourse and solutions might be. And I would just add that we've received multiple emails from the county just this week with updated information, that if anybody comes in and wants to have that printed out, we certainly could do that. But the website is still there for FEMA and for the governor.
There should also be several posts that'll go up tomorrow on the town social media page about the facility that's in Skowhegan to assist people with applying for FEMA funds.
So there'll be parameters and stipulations on how this money's spent for individuals. So I'm reading here that,
So you can use it for individuals, or you can use it for municipal emergency management. I posed the question to the county as to whether or not, how they were able to legally use taxpayer dollars for private gain, and they never did give me an answer. So that's when the piece came in about to create or supplement town budget lines for emergency management. So that allows you to use it for that parameter.
okay, you said we was going to use some for possibly the generator?
Yes, for this building. There's no specific plans for the money at
Okay,
this
I'm
point
just
in time.
wondering because it does have stipulations, not some stipulations on this. And on the last one is the funds are not private individuals is needed not to be used for repairs, public entities such as roads, bridges, and snowmobiles and ATV trails. But you're talking, we're going to use it for the generator. Is that another?
It's not a repair of a public
Okay.
entity,
Oh, I just want to make sure we're
not
using it
repair.
correctly.
right?
Right, so it's not a repair of...
It's not a repair. A generator's not roads, bridges, or snowmobile
All
or
right.
ATV trails.
So, let me get this right. People can still apply for FEMA, and if they have issues from the storm in December.
Yes.
And then we have been given $20,000 to help with the flood relief.
We have no active program that would, if we were to administer the funds that way, we have no active program for that.
Because I was wondering how
Right.
proof of need would be established and all of that, so.
So if that's something that the council chooses to use it for, then a program would have to be developed for that. And you would have to also get the staff that could administer that program. I don't understand why, if that's what the county wanted to do, why they didn't administer it on their behalf. I'm not real sure. In fact, I made that suggestion to the county administrator myself, but.
Yeah, because I know there's a, when the governor declares a state of emergency, there's federal money.
Right.
This is coming from county.
Yeah.
I know county puts in.
It's
I
county
know the
tax
county
money.
puts in recommendation to the federal on any damages within the county.
They've never done this before. We've never seen it.
Okay.
Were these county funds, or do they come from state or federal funds that then transfer to county?
I believe they're county funds,
Okay.
okay? So they're part of the Community Benefit Fund,
Okay.
which is derived from the TIF districts that they have. They're
Okay.
payments that are into the county in lieu of taxes.
Do you have a question?
Yes, I do.
So,
So my question is obviously, they give us $20,000. So do we have an emergency management account?
so Michelle,
No.
at this point, we do not. This is something brand new.
Okay, so my recommend to you, Chairman, is if we do take this money, it shall go into an emergency
You know,
management account.
Duly noted, and I'm sure it will.
Thank you.
So, any more discussion? So, okay, so what do you have for us?
He's got to go to the microphone.
Coming up, yep, sure.
If you do take this money and set up this account and do whatever, what's the parameters that you guys are gonna be setting up for the time that people can ask for the money until the staffing's done and all of that's ready?
So I think we just talked about it, and the fact that we don't have a program in place.
Yeah, but
So-
still, if you do approve that,
So it'll sit in our account, and then we can figure out how to use it.
Do we need to set up parameters first before we accept this money, or?
No? There's nothing saying that you have to set up a program or anything.
Right.
Because if you use it for an emergency management purposes, such as a generator, and you use the 100% of it to offset a generator, which is a public benefit for everyone in the municipality, there would be no other administration of the funds.
I myself would like some time. We really do need to have a more thorough discussion. This is tax money that's being used for emergency purposes, because it's coming from the Community Development Fund, which is taxpayer-sponsored. And I'm thinking it should be going back to the taxpayers who are in need. And I just don't think that this money should just sit there in an account waiting to be used. I really think we should my feeling is we need to advertise that if people have issues, maybe with FEMA, they didn't get the money that they needed to pay for all of their repairs. To me, that is something that could be established as a need for this money, and it's going to the taxpayer again. I don't feel right in us using it to help pay for a generator.
So is there a time frame in which to accept?
We've already got it, right?
Right, so they've
So, I
already
mean,
sent
but-
the check. So
right.
this is just you accepting the donation.
Right.
You don't have to define how you use it this
At this
evening.
point, yeah,
This
there's
is
no-
either to accept or reject the funds, right? So do you want to keep it, or do you want us to send it
All right.
back?
I will make a motion that we keep the money,
We accept the
accept the
donation.
money,
Accept the money.
with the understanding that further discussion on how the money is to be used will take place at the next council meeting.
And deposit it into the emergency management reserve account?
Which we don't have, right?
You're creating
We're
one.
creating it.
Right now,
Let me
if
rephrase that
if
then.
you don't, if
Okay.
you say we just accept the money, it just goes into miscellaneous
All right.
So we
revenue.
want to put it into
Okay, I'll
emergency
make a
management.
motion that we accept the $20,000 from the county to be put into an emergency management account that will be used eventually after the council has had a chance to discuss this further at the next meeting. That was too wordy.
Whatever, but we understand. Second.
You're a second?
Sure. Any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Townsend?
Aye.
Thibodeau?
Aye.
Lawrence?
Nay.
Bickford?
Aye.
Bichotti?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1. Lawrence.
Good discussion.
Oh, you know what, I apologize. You're fully a nay, not an abstention. I just want to make clarification, you're a nay. Okay, thank you.
Item 24-20, order the town council hereby considers and awards bids facilitated by Diego Engineering for the Newhall Street Rehabilitation Project, with 50% to be paid for by the Maine DOT Municipal Partnership Initiative and 50% to be expended from the paving reserve account.
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second, discussion. Stephanie.
The bid that's coming in at the lowest was from Ranger Construction Corporation
Come on up, Bruce.
for $353,132. We had 4 bids. The highest one was $896,596. I like the idea that Ranger is coming in so low. They're also a town-owned business, which I feel is a big plus for us as well. So we're supporting our local business that way. I'm all for it. That's my thing.
Bruce, do you have any insight on this? I think it's, I mean, all people wonder the difference, so I think people will wonder, like, well, how do you have one for this and one that's double?
I mean, the other 3 are pretty close. The 896,000, I think that was a price. Let's throw it at the wall. If it sticks, we get it, great.
Right.
You know, that's the I don't want to do it price.
Right. And I guess to assure people out there, they all meet the standards for
yes,
DOT
absolutely.
construction. So
Yep.
it doesn't, it's like, oh, maybe they're just doing a skim coat or something.
Right.
The second contractor on the list as well, the Mainly Paving, will do all the paving for Ranger Construction. 2 of these bidders will be getting work out of this.
Real nice.
Yeah.
Anything to add, Bruce?
Nope, that's it.
Great, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Any more discussion?
One's
So we need a friendly amendment if you want the bid to go to the low bidder, which is Ranger Construction, in the amount of $353,132.
I'll make the bid, the amendment, a motion that the town, that we consider Ranger Construction Corporation for the Newhall Street Rehabilitation Project at $353,132, with 50% to be paid for by the Maine DOT and the Municipal Partner Initiative, and at 50% to be expended from the paving reserve account.
second, yeah.
Okay, friendly amendment second.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Thibodeau. I'm
Aye.
sorry, Townsend, I
That's all right.
apologize.
Aye.
Townsend. Thibodeau.
Aye.
Lawrence.
Aye.
Bickford.
Aye.
Bichotti.
Aye.
It's unanimous, motion carries.
Item 24-21, order the town council hereby signs quitclaim deed for Daniel Vachon for property located at 735 Norwood Rock Road, map 15, lot 059-001-005.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Townsend.
Aye.
Thibodeau.
Aye.
Lawrence.
Aye.
Bickford.
Aye.
Bichotti.
Aye.
Motion carries, it's unanimous.
Very good. Item 24-22, order the town council hereby signs quitclaim deed for the Raquel Robinson property located on 8 Kelly Street, map 25, lot 23.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Townsend?
Aye.
Thibodeau?
Aye.
Lawrence?
Aye.
Bickford?
Aye.
Chadi?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
And the final, 2423, order the town council hereby authorizes the town manager to sign and send the annual Crawford Fund account letter for fiscal year 24-25 to MSAD 49. Can you just go over that really quick, like, it's actually good news for them this year?
Yes, so this year's funding allowed for an $88,144.61 contribution towards the Lawrence High School and Junior High Band and Chorus Program. Unlike in years past, or last year, we had nothing. So it was good this year.
Nice.
So moved.
We need a,
Second?
Yeah, you need a second.
and a second?
Yep, there you go. So motion, a second, discussion.
Remember, this doesn't actually appropriate the funds.
Yeah,
This
it
just
just
come back to
passed.
council in July, once
Yep.
they have their budget put together, and it gets appropriated in the next fiscal year, so.
Let's just sign it. So, roll call.
Townsend?
Aye.
Thibodeau?
Aye.
Lawrence?
Aye.
Bickford?
Aye.
Chadi?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Very good. Last, seventh order of business, council workshop and other business. So the biggest one is to discuss 31 Lawrence Avenue. So,
You
thoughts
do
around
have
the-
one reservation
Yep.
from the public to speak on this matter.
Yep.
Mr. Paul Nichols.
And so there are thoughts from, what are their council feelings on this?
It was nice to see the plan. In that plan that was developed by Sheridan, so that you all know,
Excuse
there's
me. This is a plan for a renovation and addition
right,
for the library.
right. There's an elevator, which will help to make it ADA accessible. I still think something like that needs to happen for the library. There should be a plan. As for the house itself, we should not be spending any more money. I don't think we'll ever get the money back that was spent on it. We should never have gone into the apartment business. But that's history. So now my feeling is the best thing to do is to get rid of it and make sure we're focused on a plan that can be achieved for the library. So it's
So when I hear get rid of, what does that mean?
well, we could sell it and reap back some of the profits. I don't know what the condition is on the inside, if there's anything worth salvaging from the inside. But right now, I'd like to see us get rid of this and start over.
So how would you explore that?
Well, if we decide that we just want to, it's not in livable condition as it is, and there's a lot that needs to be done. I don't know if a committee is in the right realm of our understanding, or do we just want to wash our
Right.
hands of it and put it up for sale?
And you guys, everyone can comment, and obviously Mr. Nichols and everybody else who wants to. But I mean, I think we have several options. I think we have the one of the original plan, which is to tear down. Maybe not our best option, but an option. So we have to discuss that. I think we look at selling the property. If we sell, we're going to have to engage a real estate agent, so we have to go through that process of hiring a real estate agent. So there has to be a request for proposal on that. And because we don't have a set real estate agent for the town at this point. And then probably other options in between. But those are some of our big ones. I guess my personal preference would be thinking about having a committee that explores some of those options in a short period of time, and goes that way. But we can make that decision as a council too.
There is a cost to the real estate agent, so, and I don't want to put any more money.
We're going to have to hire a real estate agent anyway.
Yeah.
We will.
Because there's a new law that requires us to use a real estate agent in order to sell tax foreclosed property. That RFP is going to be
Was
going
this
out
tax
soon.
foreclosed?
This was not tax foreclosed, but we're going to have to put out an RFP and hire a real estate engine anyway, right? Real estate agent anyway. So that's process is already going to be in there, and they'll take their fees from the sale of the property. We don't pay them direct.
So we have to hire a real estate agent if we decide to tear the building down. We still need a real estate agent.
You don't need a real estate agent if you tear the building down. So I brought this up for you so that you can see it on the screen. Okay, so remember, so back here, right back here, see where my cursor's moving? That's where the garage is, right? So that section of the property back has already been split off to go to the library over here.
Okay.
Okay, so what you would be selling would basically be from this dotted line all the way across, from like that walkway forward to the street, including the house. Because all of the back of the property is split and been given to the library.
If sold, where does that money go?
Goes back to the library. That's as per the, so the warrant article, remember, said specifically that, so this purchase was for the purpose to authorize the town council to borrow the balance needed at terms and conditions they deemed in the town's best interest, and to sell any extra land and buildings purchased, and to apply the proceeds of the sale to the loan and to the library reserve account.
Yeah.
So any proceeds from a sale goes directly to the library.
Right. So,
And based upon the article, I mean, you can send it off to your attorney to review. Based upon the way this is written, you have the authority to use it for the library or sell it. You don't have the authority to use it for any other purpose.
So we don't have the authorization to split it.
It's been split.
It's already been split. So you split off what the library needed, and then you can get rid of what the library doesn't need. Which is why the discussion back in 17, I think, circled around using it as a parking lot, because that way you could still use it for library parking, and it would also enhance parking at the park.
So it could still, I mean, obviously still could be sold, rehabbed, saved.
so add it to your list of options,
Right.
Matt,
So I think that's where the committee comes in, so.
would be to maintain, well, if you sell the house, you're not going to have the parking lot there.
You're gonna, yeah, not the side, you're gonna have.
But if we
that's-
tear the house
That was a
down-
proposal to have that was a proposal to have even another building built as an annex.
You have,
But-
we have parking in the back.
Right, you have that parking back,
But not in front.
correct, from that appearance.
But if we just tore the house down, then we have more room for parking spaces, correct?
Correct, and/or.
Correct.
And/or building another building for the library, or,
That's a big cost.
yeah.
Because we lost a lot of money already.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're getting dealt the.
Let's hear from
So,
Mr. Nichols.
yes, so it's some good groundwork there. So, Paul, good to see you. I wasn't sure we were going to see you tonight, so good to see you.
Yes, I'm Paul Nichols, just for the record. First, I want to thank Stephanie for providing me some information from the last meeting that the council had. It gave me a great opportunity to review it, but when I started reviewing it, became a lot of questions. So I want to read this, and then I'll touch on some other things as well. There have been discussions pertaining to the Good House purchased in 2008. Moving forward with the decision, this council shall take action tonight. 1, assign a committee to address the best outcome of said property. There have been suggestions that were before this body in 2016 and 2017. It was already addressed at that time about, and came up with some suggestions, and it was in that packet that was handed to you by the town manager at your last meeting. To include disposing of the property by a couple of different means, demolition or selling it. Independently, I did some research by reading the packet that was provided to the council members and read by the town manager at the last council meeting. I also spoke of possibility forming a committee as stated above. As I read through the packet, there came more questions than answers. With that, I filed a FOIA on the 30th of January and receipt of that FOIA getting received on the 31st, which I appreciate the rapid response on that. I received an email answering some of my requests on the 12th of February with a note explaining why all the information I requested was not provided. I have that here if you would like me to read it, but I'll touch on that. It was just saying that the allowed free 2 hours that was granted underneath the FOIA or the town's policy was exhausted. So it would cost me another $200 if I wanted to get the rest of the information, which I think is very critical to assessing to what you can actually get for a return should you choose to sell it. Let me go further with that. February, with a note explaining that the day I sent the email requesting the status, I sent this, it took them 7 days for a response on that. 7 working days, not counting the weekends, and 2 days before this council meeting. Fortunately, I had sent a request, just a status update that day, and that email was there when I had already sent it. I appreciate the information. I did request a lot. There are still many questions and information that I would ask the council to acquire and consider when making a decision. I have a few important questions that were not included in my FOIA. Does this body have the authority to sell the property that was voted on by the people for a specific purpose at an annual town meeting? That's pretty important. Does the library still have an intent on expanding? I did contact or reached out to the library today. I didn't speak to the director, she was out sick. I don't even know if there's an existing committee. I do have that memo or letter for them, and I'll get into that for the expansion by Sheridan. Is there still an active committee? What has the town have invested in the purchase? Does anybody have an idea? Currently.
Or after we pay, yeah, so we can answer all those eventually.
I'll tell you, right now, it stands at a rough $300,000. That does not include tearing down that garage, which has to be done based on the information at the last council meeting, if I'm correct. Should this council consult with the town's attorney to get a written response from them to be entered into public record to ensure, for the protection of the community, that you can go ahead and just sell that without bringing it to the people, or do you have to? I think that's critical. As a municipality, can property that is known to have hazardous materials be sold to the public? I understand as a private sale, it needs to be disclosed. Do we fall underneath that same guidelines as a municipality? And what are the liabilities, if any? My personal opinion is aligned with many. Sell it and attempt to recover as much revenue that you can, providing it can be done appropriately, keeping in mind that there have been property already sold, which divides that and makes that property line go, we don't even know what we got back from that. Does anybody know what we got when we sold that piece of property, divided it?
No.
We should have that information.
It's not
It was
sold.
not sold. It was sold, we purchased originally, and then we divided it.
How did the property line get divided on the garage?
New survey was done.
When the survey was done?
New survey was done.
And what was the purpose of the survey, for just the
Just to
addition?
ensure that the back half of that property went to the library.
So the town still owns it?
Yes.
That was confusing.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you.
So what I'm hearing, I think there are lots of great questions, which just reinforces the point which I think you've brought, and I think what many of us feel, that I think to properly address, I think we really need a committee, and with us, but, you know, to do that. But then obviously, to some of you, I'm sure, hey, that's another step, but I think to have the proper answers, I think that's what we're kind of looking at doing.
May I? You have a question, Christine?
He needs to finish.
Yeah, so I mean,
All right, where was I? Oh, at the 300,000 threshold. One more thing that concerns me is it should everyone. How is it that the town purchased property above the evaluation, allow the seller to live there at no cost for 6 months? Correct me if I'm wrong. That is an rental agreement that I read. And we pay half of the utilities for the person?
Yes, back then you did. It wasn't good, necessarily.
Now, I know there's also interest. There's abutters that are interested in buying that property. My biggest thing, I agree with the council, that we need to get back as much as we possibly can. You're not gonna recover the 300,000. And by the time you're all done, if you demolish it, there's another expense. Because you're gonna have to do, as indicated by the town manager, you have to have that hazardous material evaluation done, which is pretty expensive. And the only thing that we have is reported as hazardous now are roof shingles. My question is,
And lead. There's lead paint, roof shingles.
That's not, I'm going on what the report states.
We don't have an official report that says there is lead paint. It is assumed that there is lead paint based upon the age of the building, but there is no report that says lead paint.
It was addressed in the town manager's request for the hazardous materials, but I think there was just, so as we're moving forward, depending on what you do, it's gonna cost. Now, I looked at the...
So, Paul, I'm going to have to ask you, I mean, I don't want to be the fun buster here, but I think many of us agree with you. So when we're having this kind of discussion, like, what would you like to, how would you like to move forward? I think that's my biggest question. So just so we can move it along, but I think a lot of us are in support of a committee to do that.
I think a committee would be okay, but on the other hand, I think that you're beating a dead horse. I think that the best way to move forward is contact your attorney, find out if you can sell it, and put it on the market, get rid of it. And as for the expansion for the library, it's needed, but not at $2 million.
Right, and that's a whole other question. So that's good. I appreciate that's really well researched and really well presented, and I think you make a lot of valid points. And I think at least I heard them all. And I think that's important.
Thank you.
Thanks.
My concern too, this estimate through Sheridan, there's an expiration date to it.
So, I mean, to be honest, that's a whole, so like the building, that's a whole other matter. That's whether, that's whether the library has an expansion group, you know, and committee, and whether they want to go ahead with that. That's unfortunately a whole other separate thing that's not really currently active. And that's, I think that's one of those things you worry about selling. I mean, that's one of the things you may think about, even having a committee, having stipulations if we sell, because if that goes to somebody else who's a private citizen who buys it, and then they just tear it down, well, maybe we save money because we don't have to handle it, and we've got some money back, but we also lost that option to ever have an expansion there or anything else in the future. So I think we just need to think about that process before we jump. And I think I want to recapture some of that too, but.
I'd like to hear from the counselors out in the Zoom land and their thoughts.
Well, I was intrigued by the library plan. I didn't realize this project had moved that far forward. But the gentleman who just spoke did make some very good valid points that the legal stuff has to be taken care of first. Whether you recoup your money, I feel you'd be lucky to get 10% back. It was just, I don't think it was a good purchase to begin with, but that's neither here nor there. It wasn't this council or this manager, so we're kind of stuck with it. I do agree with the chairman, though, that there should be some kind of committee. What that looks like, I have no idea, but to determine whether it's really worth the effort of hiring a realtor and trying to sell the property, as opposed to just tearing it down and keeping the property for the town for future use.
So,
Okay, did
John's out there.
John want to say anything?
No, I agree with, I agree with Dwayne, Mr. Bickford, that exactly right. That was originally done and put together by a committee that's called Friends of the Library. I'm not sure if that committee still even exists, but that's where that whole thing started from and came together with.
so brief, do we have a brief comment?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, if I could, has there been anybody that inquired yet about the property?
That's, so I have no idea on that end, because that's not my job, so I don't know.
Can you ask her about?
Sure, I can ask, but it's really part of this hearing, and we're trying to actually have.
What I'm getting
This is
at,
not a
Yeah, so,
what I'm getting at, Chairman, is I have a family member, okay, that is a realtor, okay?
so.
And he has contacted the town in reference to this property. And none of us here are getting any part of that. So I'm just bringing it up to you, Mr. Chairman, if you could try to find out if anything has been
So what we have
inquired
to go
about
do
it.
is, so what we have to do though is, we have to go through the process, right?
Okay,
So which is coming from this end. So that means whether we like it or not, and we want to do things quickly, but we have to either have a committee formed to explore, or we have to go out and reach out to a real estate agent and put it on open market. And so that's where we have to look at doing to be fair, and to actually be fair to other real estate agents, but also be fair to the town of Fairfield and make sure we get the best deal. So, but yes, I agree with a lot of those options. So let's see, as is this, movements, we have some other, Paul, if you want to speak to that.
I just
like, so we don't have too much.
I would like to add, as far as the committee is concerned, if the council chooses to go with a committee, may not be a bad idea, and I just want you to know that I'd be very much interested in being a member of that committee.
Sure.
Thank you.
Some more discussion from.
And if there's butts in the end, there's a lot of unknowns.
Right, so that's why, in my mind, whether we like it or not, a committee being formed, because there is exploration. And I think if we go to the quick sale, I mean, there's like we talked about, brought up, we have to look at legal advice, we have to look at the original intent, we have to look at future use. So those are all issues that we would have.
You don't need legal advice as to whether or not you can sell it. The article itself says that you can.
Right.
Specifically says that you can. So the committee's use would be A, keep it for library use, or B, sell any amount that you don't need, based upon what the article says. If not, you could have them explore all sorts of things, but it would have to go back to town meeting in order for anything different to happen with that property.
Yep. So let's just move this along as a committee, as a council, and have a choice of what you'd like to do. Well, so we actually do have to do business as well, but so, because it's not going to be back and forth, so what else more can we ask?
I want to talk more about the article as how, but I'll deal with that.
So I think that's why a committee might be a really good choice.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we establish a committee to explore possibilities for 31 Lawrence Avenue.
Second that.
Motion, just, actually, we don't have to, we just actually don't have to make a,
Well, I'm going to do it
yeah, because it's,
because it's time.
Because you
So-
need to advertise, you need to get applications for, you need to.
So we want to have this, right, so we want to form a committee.
You have to fill out that form.
Right.
You have to
Right.
follow the policy
Right.
and procedure for formation of the
Right.
committee.
So we like, so this isn't actually a motion a second.
Yes, it is. Well, I can make this as a motion, can't I, to form
You
a committee?
Can, but
But
you
they
should
still have to-
probably do the form and stuff, and we could do it formally at your next meeting, but you can certainly do it
Start,
today.
yeah.
I think, why not make it
Sure.
today?
Sounds
Because
good.
all we have to do is have people pick up the forms to be on the committee and fill them out. Christine?
I don't want to get it,
The council has to fill out a form to form the committee with the goals before we can put it out and advertise it for appointment applications. So council has to do their part first, which would go on the next agenda. You would submit that in the next coming days. It would go on to the next meeting. This is per your
Okay.
policy.
Yeah, I
Right.
did forget that
No, it's
step.
just-
My apologies.
no, it's just like
Yeah.
building committee and.
Yeah, I forgot that step.
But we want to
But
do it.
that's what we need to do.
I think we do need to do it. I think we need to do it in a timely manner. We can't say, hey, we'd like to talk about these committees. I think it needs to move along.
Right.
So you want to go ahead and we can move that?
I think I'll make a motion that we move the question so that we will create a committee to address 31 Lawrence Avenue.
I would second that. How does the rest of the council feel?
All for it?
John, do you feel good with that?
No, that's fine. That's a good idea.
Okay. Dwayne?
So the purpose of the committee is to, what is their end goal?
I think explore all
Apparently-
options for the 31 Lawrence Ave property
Right.
that results in the best opportunities for the town.
Right.
You
The
can
only
clarify.
options
We
you
can-
have
yeah.
are
Right. What's being put,
Yep.
Dwayne,
Keep
what's,
it, sell it, and put the money to the library. And what else can you do with it?
Be for the committee.
Yep.
Not according to my understanding of the town meeting vote.
But I think that's what we want to explore as a committee, and make sure we have all those options.
So you can take this action right now. One of you will formally fill out the committee formation form. The goals of that committee will be clarified on that form. You
Along with-
officially adopt that committee and its goals at your next meeting. In the meantime, people can still fill out applications to volunteer. They just need to write in the fact that they want to be in the Lawrence Ave committee or 31 Lawrence Ave committee or whatever, to whatever formal name you give it. So that process can still keep moving forward. And then you figure out by your next meeting exactly what the goals of that committee will be.
Yep.
and we'll need to decide who's going to do that.
Yep.
So, are you clear on what was presented, Dwayne?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
yes, I'm all set.
yeah.
All right. So, good discussion, good input, and I think it's a good move to form the committee and make that happen as soon as quick as possible, especially as we're heading into the springtime and when real estate will start moving faster.
Yeah, do we need a vote?
Yeah, well, we've got a motion and a second.
I already made the motion, and
And I
I said you've got a motion
Oh.
and a
Second, yep,
second.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you ready to vote?
Yes.
yes.
Townsend,
Aye.
Thibodeau,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Bickford,
Aye.
Pechotti.
Aye.
It's unanimous, 5-0.
Good. So the next item of business is discuss moratorium process and applicability. So I think, Peter, this is something that you brought up about potential changes for solar and also cannabis. So any thoughts on that? You talked about having potentially a cannabis moratorium or something along that line, and so I think there was a discussion of what's involved in a moratorium ordinance. So we have a packet on moratorium ordinances and from the Maine Municipal Association. pretty in-depth and,
Well, I thought it was interesting.
Yes, it
I
actually
didn't
is.
know that you can't do a moratorium that's more than 180 days
Just a
without
six-
having to go back. I didn't realize that.
gives you a 6-month kind of cooling off period,
Yeah.
essentially.
And I questioned, really, looking at a moratorium, what is the problem here? We don't have people knocking down our doors wanting to put up more grow houses, and we don't have people knocking on our doors to put up more solar fields anywhere. I don't know if we really need to think of this as a moratorium and
Steve,
over time.
I'd limit saying, okay, we
But that
have,
would be an ordinance. And I can't remember the wording on the ordinance, but,
So, because you already have an ordinance that says that these businesses are allowed, a moratorium would not be the appropriate avenue for you to go for that. If you wanted to limit what's there, what you would need to do is amend your land use ordinance to restrict how many of these pieces are available.
So would we have to make a recommendation to go to the planning board or
So you
ask?
could certainly ask the planning board to take a look at that again. They have looked at it before
Right.
in the past, but you could ask them to look at that again. Or you yourselves could put forth an amendment to the land use ordinance, but typically that's the planning board's realm, and that's the pieces that they do.
Right. They make those recommendations to council and we approve.
Right.
And then, of course, any change, right? So you just did a land use ordinance change. In December, we had to incorporate LD 2003, right? So that's subject to public hearing and advertisement and all of those pieces.
You know, I honestly, there are all kinds of considerations and everybody has their opinions on them. You know, I know that Waterville is looking at solar farm ordinances as well. They're having some amendments to their planning board. And so if we wish to make a recommendation to the planning board to look at that, that's fine, but
right.
I think that's their purview.
Yeah.
And then we try to go from there.
I did read in the packet about a rate of growth ordinance, and I don't recall that being in the ordinances unless it's worded differently as other than rate of growth. Maybe that's something that needs to be explored. I think that is also being proactive
And I
to
don't
have
think
something like
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't, so basically what that means is that, so oftentimes what happens, folks will do a moratorium, because if it's not in your land use ordinance as something that is governed, then it's not governed, right? So and then therefore, it could very well be allowed as opposed to not allowed, right? So a lot of folks did moratoriums on solar because they did not have an ordinance that was structured to deal with large-scale solar, like commercial utility-scale solar. So they did these moratoriums so to give them the time that they need to get their ordinances where they needed to be. Because you can't necessarily just prevent the development from happening just because you don't want it to. That's not how it works when you don't already govern it. So the rate of growth pieces allow you to piece that says we don't have the infrastructure to handle what's coming at us as a new development, which is an excuse which is a rationale that you can use as to why you do the moratorium ordinance to prevent it from going forward. That kind of is almost out the window with the implications that happened with LD 2003, because remember, people can build tiny houses in their backyards everywhere, regardless whether we have the infrastructure that we need in order to be able to handle those. They just have to pay for its upgrades. So those sort of pieces. So when you got this packet on moratorium ordinances, it was the entire packet of what Maine Municipal has regarding moratorium ordinances. I don't know as if in this instance, when it comes to limiting marijuana retail facilities or solar installations, whether that actually comes into play.
Cannabis.
I think that's-
Cannabis, sorry, cannabis.
Cannabis. I think that is worthy of a discussion at the planning board level for the rate of growth, and if something should be in there. And I would like to hear what their opinion is on that. I know Max is in the room. I don't know if you can respond to that at all, Max, at this point in time or not, but I would like to know what the planning board has to say about that.
I think if I were Max, I
Poor
don't.
Max on the spot.
Yes, I'm sorry.
You can't really speak for the whole planning board. and
No,
you might be-
not a problem at all.
Not
Yes,
on this
I
topic.
certainly will not speak for the planning board, but we would be happy as a board to bring it up for discussion at our next meeting.
All right, thank you. I just think it's something that, with the way this world is today, should there be something in there referring to a rate of growth for any, I don't know. Or do you just handle it when the time arrives? I don't know. So, but thank you, Max.
Do we have other thoughts along that process?
I'm all set.
No, I think that's where we're going. Yep.
Peter, did you have any thoughts? Okay. So then that brings us to discussing other council business.
So is it the consensus of this council to put that subject before the planning board?
Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just need a
No, thank you.
consensus. I don't
Yes,
need a
yep.
vote, I just
Yep,
want
no,
the,
no, thank you.
Yes.
and Dwayne,
So just the rate of growth?
In response to the development of
Do we need it?
solar fields
In cannabis.
and cannabis, I can't think of
Yeah.
anything else. But
Oh, Max,
It's fine.
your hands up.
Max?
It's a separate ordinance.
I do think it would be helpful for the planning board, because not all the planning board members may be participating in the council meetings, to have a representative from the council come to the planning board meeting and at least advise us on what you're looking for us to review. That way
Agreed.
we're not just blanketly looking at
That-
Yeah,
everything.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
John can go.
That's a good idea, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Councilor
So-
Bickford, were you part of the consensus on that?
Yeah.
Just don't want to write
Planning board.
consensus if it's not.
That's-
Yes,
Yes.
he said yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Yeah, he said yes.
So now we can move to other business. Sorry about that. Thank you for the clarification, Christine. So John from sunny Florida. Do you have anything to add?
No, I don't. Other than it's not bad. It only got up to about 75 here today, but
Good.
other than that, it was not too bad.
Sorry for you. I feel badly. Good to see you, John.
Good to see you guys.
Dwayne, do you have anything else to add?
I don't, other than congratulations on getting the link up, and hopefully that works out very well.
Thank you, Dwayne.
I didn't hear congrats on
Congrats on
what?
the rink.
rink, the
Doing
ice
rink,
rink.
right?
Oh,
He needs
thank
to
you.
sit close. You need a better microphone if you're going to be there.
Thank you, Dwayne. Stephanie?
Well, it has come to my attention that SAD 49 has this system that gives out notifications to people. And we don't have that kind of a system. We just have our Facebook pages and we have our town website. And I was wondering, after having several conversations about this, is this something that we could explore with SAD 49 to go and use their system? They're using taxpayer money anyways, but this would help us if we could get a notification system going out.
I believe we've explored that in the past, and their policy is no.
Their policy is no?
No, because it's an MSAD 49 system and an MSAD 49 system only.
So how can we, as a municipality, have a notification system?
Buy one.
You buy one. And we are looking at upgrading our website as it is. I think that this could be something added into that process, because I think the townspeople should be notified when something happens. And in light of the flooding and the emergencies that were going on, I think it's a good idea. And it brings us up to the 21st century.
I think as we look at upgrades.
Emergency management update.
Well, it could be that, or it could be just saying, I don't know, baked bean supper tonight at
But
the
you can use it for-
community center?
yeah, But
or-
you can use it for all push
Yeah.
push notifications.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's something we should look into. We should be doing things like this. And that way we get the word out. We don't have a quarterly or a monthly newsletter that could be mailed to people because it's costly. This might be another way of doing it. I just feel badly for those that aren't hooked up to the internet. Well, so, that's it.
Thank you, Stephanie. Peter?
I just want to marry what Dwayne said about the ice rink for the residents. I think Matt Tully, he went on above and beyond to get this for us, and Matt, myself, and all the other volunteers well to get it going, and I just can't wait for Saturday to come and see what it comes. So, and also too, I want to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day. It is February 11th, 14th today, so it is Valentine's Day. And also too, this
I
Friday.
won't spend it anywhere else but right here with you, Peter.
Right. And I have to go to work afterwards, yeah. Also too, this Friday, the 16th, the Grange is having a senior luncheon from 11 to 2. And that's it.
Definitely. You're blushing, Peter. So I think we'll actually say the same thing. Peter is spot on. I think the Grange, nice thing, the Friday supper is awesome. Senior supper is well done. Sabrina, tell me times.
What's this?
On the senior,
I'm sorry, I
the
zoned
senior,
out.
the senior, 11 to 2. So yeah, it's great.
What's this?
At the Grange, senior supper.
Potluck?
Yeah.
You can show up at 11, food served at 12, and it runs until 2. Most everybody leaves around 1:30. We do have a speaker this month. I didn't know if you knew, Peter, but Shelley Rednick is going to be informing them about the tax, property tax break. So they'll be working with that, or freeze or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not that technical, but she's going to be helping the seniors with that to save some money.
Excellent.
So I love that people come in and speak. So if you guys have anything you need seniors to inform them about, please come on down and inform them.
I'll be
because
there.
Our town seniors need help. So,
Thanks, Sabrina.
yep.
Otherwise, yeah, I wanted to actually, the rink is a nice project. It's working. It's still a work in progress, but well done from everybody. Yes, Matt, Peter, everybody is the public works did a great job. Fire being involved, a lot of people, a ton of people. So I think it's just a nice situation. And the last one, I actually had a request from a citizen that was just talking about maybe the possibility, and I have to run it by them, so I don't want to throw them under the bus, but having department heads at least speak at some of our town council meetings on a regular basis, just giving a heads up. We see the manager's report, but sometimes putting a face to a name and seeing Chief Gould is often here, Bruce is often here, having Travis here, Chief Leary here. I think those are all great, and just having a quick 5-minute wouldn't be a bad thing. So that's just thought. They're all hearing this and cringing, but just a thought, and they can shoot me down, but that's okay. So I think that's what I have.
Motion to recess.
Second.
Townsend?
Recess. Aye.
Thibodeau?
Aye.
Lawrence?
Aye.
Bickford?
Aye.
Pechotti?
Aye.
We're in recess.